Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt, man! All right! Episode 146 of Shirt Show. We're talking with Rich from Culture Studio, now in Florida. Let's go!
What's up, big dog?
Look at you.
Look at you. Water-based camp tea?
Yeah. Remember this? Remember this, Camp?
Mm-hmm.
There she is. And the weird thing is it's plastisol. I don't know. Don't let the king and the queen over there at Night Owls fool you. I think they secretly
They just
plastisol.
water down plastisol. Yeah, that's all it is.
Anybody can do that. You just take the reducer, pour a shit ton in there.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah, I get it.
Hoodwinked. Yeah.
No, we love those guys. They are the king and the queen. Water base. You look like $1 million.
Thanks. I'm happy.
Well, I take that back. This is 2023. You look like $1 billion.
$1 billion? Yeah. Million's not really much anymore.
That doesn't get you a whole lot.
It's true.
What's new?
I don't know. I'm more interested in what's new with you. I see that you're
you look
running
like,
laps.
Oh, well, running? No.
And you're back to posting on Instagram again?
I posted on Instagram, which was
It's like a whole new world.
It is, yeah.
It's like I feel like I jumped in a time machine.
I'd love to do that. So you have one. Let's go.
Let's do it.
What year, where's the first stop? What year do you stop at first? Exact year, not like the decade of the 80s or something. Like what year?
Do I go back to?
Mm-hmm. Specific year.
Like in my own life?
Any time of the history of mankind, humankind.
I don't know. I kind of want to see when I don't know the year. That's because they don't know. I want to see the pyramids being built. I want to see how that shit happened. I want to see the aliens constructing it for us.
That would be pretty dope, but I think I choose 2020 and we just relive COVID. No?
Just actually go home and rest and relax.
Right. Yeah. Just chill and do nothing. Check this out. Guess what Kyle brought in today?
Some garage dog.
Yeah, he has. This is actually, he doesn't have the label on here, but this is t-shirt number 2, which is like a brown able.
A brown ale.
Yeah, that's a new thing. Brown ale.
Well, you weren't able to drink his last batch, right? Because that's when you guys were not drinking.
I know. I almost opened it up and shotgunned it right in front of him and said, fuck it.
Yeah, which you should have.
But I don't know. We were on our whatever we were doing, which was great, by the way.
No.
No, what else? So yeah, it's true. I'm on steroids. That didn't look very big. Hold on.
Did they give you a shot in the back for it?
No, I'm on oral. I'm doing the oral.
You would.
Steroids. It's weird because you do the step. I don't know if you've ever done it, but you do the step down.
Nope.
6, 5, 4, 3.
Not for me.
2, 1. Well, you should try it. It's
But it's helping a lot.
Yeah,
in all seriousness.
In all seriousness, it's helping. And then Kyle's mom commented last night. She's like, "Hey, watch out for the steroid rebound. When you're done." I'm like, "No, don't even say that's going to happen."
There's a whole new thing now to worry about.
I don't know. But it has. It's made a difference. Also, I have prescription strength, sort of like a leave, And then I have been chilling. I saw my surgeon. We got some PT coming up next week, and so it feels really good.
That's
feels
good.
really good. I said I printed my first job of the year, which I did all by myself, but it was our minimum. It was 25 shirts, but I did it. And so it felt really good, because it's the weirdest thing wanting to do something and just not being able to do it. It sucks really bad. And it's fine for a week or two, but it had been going on for so long. And so I don't know. And I'm getting sleep. And so I'm a new man.
That makes a world of difference.
Makes a world of difference. So we're getting our compressor serviced. Like I know I could do it myself, but our compressor is complicated. It's an integrated air and all this sort of thing, chiller. And so I think that I always like for a pro to take a look at it. And last time we had it serviced, we didn't change the oil because you're supposed to do it every like 5,000 hours or something insane. We changed the filter.
I haven't had ours serviced yet. So
how many hours does it have?
I don't even know. Well, mine's like newer. So like end of last year, I got it. So
yeah. So it probably has like 2 or 3 hours, maybe.
Yeah, probably actual work time.
No, but we have them coming out. I should guess how much. Okay. I'm going to read this to you.
Shit, where is it, dude? Where is it?
Up your ass, you'd know.
Where is it? Got it.
Pulled it right out, huh?
I was up in there. I'm going to read you these things and what they're going to do, okay? And then you tell me the price. 1 hour. Just shh. Oh, check. By the way, we recording?
I don't know. Are we? You look so fucking fine right now.
That makes me so.
You look so happy and youthful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's probably my ball.
That's true.
One ball.
Mm-hmm.
So check this out. 1 hour service. It just says hour. Okay, so hour. Oh fuck, no, it says two of those. So it says hour. There's a price, and then it says times 2. Air filter element, coolant filter, 4-inch, IR, whatever that is, separator element. Then it says pre-filter. I don't know what that is. Oh, oil. And then it says ultra coolant, 5 liters or 1.32 gallons. Okay, those things.
$900.
That's closer. Well, dude, I think you nailed it because it says subtotal $929 and then taxes $1,012.
Such horseshit. The funny thing is the reason why I know that is because when I was going through it with mine, they gave me that. They're like, oh, here's the we'll come out every so often. This is the price. I was like, is he going to fucking finish me off while he's out here too? I told the fucking sales guy that. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Some guy's going to come change the fluids on this for $1,000. Tell him to go fuck himself.
When when I bought it, they said, hey, you can buy the service plan for 5 years. I'm like, okay, cool. Hit me with it. What was that cost? She's like $5,000. I'm like, nah. We're good.
Yeah, I can fucking open a valve and take some oil out and put new oil in.
I don't know. I like having them service it because the guy is it's the same guy. His name's Eric and he's fucking rules. And he comes out here and ends up doing he does free shit, gives us, free filter, like different things, cleans it. It's beautiful when he leaves. Guy he knows what he's doing. And it's a really expensive piece of equipment. And I want it to work.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Like I want it to work forever. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Just thought I'd get that out there.
Cool.
Well, you haven't. So what's new? You did something. I haven't talked to you for a week.
What did I do? I don't know. I've been working really hard on some projects. Hired some people to help with some CRMs and hired dude fucking after the episode we did with Garrett from Pine. He's been helping me out a ton with like stuff at the shop and like he's gonna help me build out a CRM for stuff. So Garrett's awesome.
Really?
I fucking love that guy. Yeah, he put me in contact with somebody who would help me with the T Club stuff. So we're gonna do a bunch with that. And yesterday and the day before, there was a nor'easter snowstorm up here.
Really?
Luckily, most of it ended up being rain, and then last night it snowed quite a bit, but not like a shit ton. But I drove to PA and visited Graphic Hive, John and Kaylee.
When did you do that?
Yesterday.
Okay.
they have a cool shop. He's got like a ton of stuff in there, like a ton of different things. He's got like tenants of like a wood shop and all this other stuff. But like his basement is the print shop, and it's funny like seeing how people make things work. And he's got a rock in there, and you know how rocks are so tall, and they've got that like center post, and then the whole thing kind of comes up and down. He had to like cut a hole in the floor like above him so that when it comes up, it goes into the floor.
Okay, time out.
Ceiling so
is this the basement of his house or a basement of a commercial building?
It's like a commercial building.
Oh, okay. Because I was imagining like their bedroom has like this thing coming up.
like the top of a rock coming in and out of it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. No. But yeah, no, it was awesome. It was a good time. And then back at work today, podcast with you. And I'm excited for the rest of the week. I'm going to try to make some yellow curry and banana bread tonight.
Yellow curry banana bread sounds awful.
No, they're not together. I'm making two different things.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, curry banana bread. You don't know about that?
I'm not. But I would try it. Like, I'm not saying I'm like gross. I'm not going to try it. I would try that. So send me a piece.
Okay, cool. I'll just put it in a sealed envelope.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh, you mean like a paper envelope?
Yeah.
Sure.
Drizzle some in there.
Yeah, I'm not picky. I'll do it. I'll eat it. I put it in my mouth.
Yeah, I know.
I was going
to miss you next week.
You miss me every week. I miss you every week.
I know, but AC next week.
AC, yeah. Yeah, you know.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
Yeah. I mean, I will miss the hangs, but fuck that place.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm kind of excited, but also kind of bummed. I heard Gordon Ramsay went out of business or isn't there anymore. That was like one of our favorite places to eat. I'm going with Brian and Bill, so it'll be fun to go check stuff out and fucking get into trouble. Yeah, it should just be a good time. We'll see.
Well, send me pics.
Oh, lots of pics, yeah.
So it's fucking nutso here. I can't even.
Really?
It's the weirdest thing. I mean, I'll take it, but
I'm happy for you. It's just I'm still getting calls from other shops too, being like, "Dude, what is going on? It's so slow." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's fucking slow as fuck here." Like we're literally just doing like compacting everything into like 3, maybe 4 days a week.
We got. I don't know. I don't want to brag. It's just fucking. I think it's just certain things are popping off for us. What customers?
Like what ones are fucking coming in?
We have a couple of unique things like St. Louis has a brand new soccer team, and it's amazing. Like it's a beautiful. They built this $100 zillion stadium, and it's fucking sold out for the whole season. You can't even get a ticket.
So you're doing work for them?
Yeah, and then we have we also have what's it called, XFL team, and which got canceled.
Wasn't that the thing that Dwayne Johnson was doing? Like he's an owner in it.
Yeah. He is. And so ours is called Battlehawks, and they play. You know how the Rams used to be here, and then the Rams fucking left because of our stadium. They're like, nah, the stadium is no good.
The shit.
And so they left. Well, that's where they play, and they started selling tickets. It's a massive, fucking huge stadium, and they have sold out now. They kept opening up like sections and getting higher and higher, but it's just fucking all sold out. And so all it says is caca. Basically, is you can print a shirt that says caca sold. So I don't know. It's crazy. And so there's that. So that's kind of unique, like two new.
Yeah, it's like special projects. Yeah.
There's other stuff too. And that's just normal, to add it in. And so Kyle was fucking stressed. We had to like just chill. I mean, I get it. He takes on. Does your production manager take on a lot? Too much sometimes.
Yeah.
Like those type of people that just says, I got it. And I respect that, but also it's just, it kind of catches you off guard. Thing. What's that?
It's the backpack thing we were talking about, where he
Oh.
just keeps taking projects and putting
Yeah.
in his backpack, putting in his backpack.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
gonna get
exactly what it
overloaded.
is. Mhm. So I took some stuff out of his backpack this morning, and we're that's why I was on press yesterday too. Or
Nice.
was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. So yeah, man. That's going on. I suppose we've got a lot to talk about here with our partners, so I just get this fucking party started, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Clear your throat. Take a deep-
Ah. Okay, is that good?
I liked it.
Okay, cool.
Deep breath. It all starts with a screen, and whether it is new stretches or restretches, Frank and his team do it the best.
Yes.
To find out more, go to graphicscreenfashion.com, FFFFF,
Rank.com.
or
GreatFuckingScreens.com.
cleaning screens is no fun, but EasyWay makes it way more funner. Their line of eco-friendly chemicals will make reclaiming screens a whole lot easier.
Mhm.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
A 5-gallon of 701.
A 5-gallon of 701. Ooh.
A 5-gallon of 701 could be for you.
God damn.
That's right. the best YouTube comment on this episode wins a 5 of 701.
So make it good.
To make it real good. Also,
Even if you don't have anything good to say, just say something. Give it a like. Say something.
yeah, say something shitty.
Share some
Give it a-
shit on Instagram for us, please.
I'd rather have 100 bad comments than no comments.
Yeah, that's true.
At least it's like,
Yeah, fuck Andy's ball hat.
yeah, you know, like the kid that just wants attention, even if it's bad. Yeah. We're just kids that want attention. Yeah, even if it's bad attention. And you know what?
Chicken butt.
This isn't approved by Alex, but he's a cool dude. Let's do this too. Let's give away another one for
This isn't approved by them. Let's give away a shitload of
He's-
701.
I'm sure he'd be fine with it. The best the best review on Apple Podcasts, because nobody's
Sure.
given us a review for like 6 months.
They're over it.
Yeah, they're like, enough.
Mhm.
But I don't know. We'd like to hear from you guys. So that's 2. That's 10 gallons.
It's a lot of gallons.
Yeah. It's good stuff too. And if you've never used it, this is your perfect opportunity. If you use it, then it's a perfect opportunity to get some free shit.
Best stuff there is. Yeah. Liquid gold.
Yes, check them out at easyway.com. EasyWay, it is the easiest way.
Yes.
If you or your art department could use some love, then you need to go to 1-900hotstuff.com and get in touch with Nick or Lucas
Nick Lucas.
at Graphics Source and get yourself some Sourcey sauce. Also,
For real, we haven't talked about it in a while, but like it's 2023 now. It's coming out of slowish season. It's a perfect time to get your art department in shape and, you know, get the help you need for when it fucking cranks up and the bippage goes away.
yeah, I mean, do this before it's too late. You know, you don't want to be post BIP and then be like,
just do some a la carte options to test them out, you know, test the waters, dip the toesies in a little bit.
who was it that texted me the other day and they're like, Andy, what the fuck is BIP? What is bippage? I'm like, well,
What isn't bippage?
I can't talk. And so I said BIP instead of dip. And that's just what it is. You never heard of BIP? You're like, fucking Google it. Google bippage.
Yeah. Google that shit.
That's what I said.
Idiot.
That's what I should have said.
Yeah.
Yeah, so check them out at graphxsource.com.
Sure.
Why am I an idiot? Is that what it is?
That's a really long question.
Would you look it up for me, please?
Look it up right now.
Why not? Let's get the fucking right answer. Oh, duh. It's 1-900hotstuff.com. That's all you got to know.
Yeah, but like
The real deal.
Graphicsource.com.
Okay, there you go. GraphX Source. choosing the right emulsion for your shop is complicated, and that's why we love Chromaline. Go to chromaline.com to watch Kev's vids or contact him at the Emulsion Guru on Insta. That's short for Instagram. And get the answers you need. I think I said answers. I almost said ANSW.
You said answers, but it's cool.
Answer. Okay.
It sounds more sophisticated.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, whoever made that word up was fucking high. Just have it ANSERS. Answers.
Answers.
Like, why complicate shit? I don't know. That's annoying. Like, spell it better. Next, we have Howard Custom Transfers. Everybody is ordering DTF and screen printed transfers for those low quantity jobs. We have partnered with Howard Custom Transfers, and they have 20 plus years of experience, and they offer same day service for single color transfers, and they are
the fucking best.
You can find them at howardct.com. Go grab a free sample pack.
Yeah. There's no reason not to. Like, get a free sample pack.
Yeah.
You don't have to believe us. Just do it.
Yeah. We are chatting with Rich Santo from Culture Studio in Chicago, IL, and also now in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Stands for
Daytona.
Florida. Is that where they are? Daytona?
Mm-hmm. Right next to the racetrack.
Well, that's cool. They have a brand new 75 billion square foot factory.
Basically.
Yeah. So I'm excited to hear about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the deal? Yeah, you want to stretch it out and get on with it?
You can only stretch it out so much. Oh, yeah. I'm ready if you are, bud. Hey, why does Snoop Dogg use an umbrella?
I figured I would get this because it has some. Well, I wouldn't have got that. Good one. Good one, Dylan.
Okay, cool. Oh,
Hey,
there
how's
he
it
is.
going?
What's up, dude?
How are you?
How are you not in your fancy new fucking podcast studio?
Right. You know what, man? I will tell you one thing. We highly underestimated how hard it is. Like, it is so complicated. You know what I mean? Like, the lighting and the sound, and like, we were like, okay, you know what? We're just going to jump in and just, make content that our clients are looking for.
Yeah.
And just getting everything right was so much harder than we thought it was going to be. So yeah.
Well, I gotta say from our end, it looks fancy as fuck though. Like, you got the logo, you got the soundproof wall looking thing, you got the mics, you got everything ready. It's
just the lighting. Number one, the lighting's not right. There's no backlight. We only wear black clothes, so that makes it even worse.
It's just floating heads in a room.
It's just like yeah.
You should have just done it like us and half-assed it, And
I was gonna say, look at us. Andy's fucking standing in his office. There's like a blank screen behind him for no reason.
I love it. It looks awesome. Looks sweet.
But your backdrop's good now. Is this your office?
Yeah, this is my office in Chicago. So it's pretty cool, actually. I think we're gonna rip our whole office apart here in Chicago. So I'm pretty excited for that. Get some new love in here. We've been in this building since 2014, so it's crazy. It's gonna come up on 10 years, and I can't even believe it.
You're like, hey, we don't have enough fucking projects to worry about. Let's like rip our offices apart.
Oh, dude, I am a glutton for punishment, man. Like complete glutton for punishment.
You need to do that when you're down in Florida at the offices down there, so you wouldn't have to deal with it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. God forbid. Then I'll come back. I'll be like, what the hell? Why did we do this? Like, this could have been so much better. Whatever.
So what's going on? I feel like there's a lot of new stuff going on with you guys, but I guess you explain what's up.
Yeah. Around really like 2020, the end of 2019, going into 2020, we really like made our minds up that, we wanted to do like a pretty significant expansion. And, the decision, was made that we wouldn't do it in Chicago for logistics purposes. Our kind of like our wild, audacious goal is to be a 2-day ground ship anywhere in the U.S. And so like we said, if that's the goal, then, we're going to want to open up another facility rather than expanding Chicago.
Well, that makes perfect sense for your market though, for like, you want to kind of be all over the place. So.
Yep. Yeah. So, that kind of was, the decision that we were going to make. And we're like, okay, the beginning of 2020, we're going to, get out there and start looking for, is it going to be the East Coast or West Coast or so forth? And, then, where it went March 2020. And so, every single tour was canceled at that time. And, it was really wild. Luckily we were able to shift into retail and e-com and actually had growth years, through that whole insanity, which was, shutting down all live events, which 100% of our business was, dependent on live events. But then moving those sales over to e-commerce, or moving those sales over to
retail. Were you guys
retail.
prepared for that?
No, I think, we're always, I would say, working on, what is next. And sometimes I think we're so far out that adoption is probably our biggest issue. But we had been building tech to handle that, building all of our, ERP system, our Culture Studio platform that is, kind of been like the secret to our success so far. So we've been building that piece of technology to handle, pulling down orders from stores, handle the process of printing shipping labels and, everything you would need for e-commerce way far out in advance. So I would say, yeah, we were very, very prepared for that. And we put our platform up in the cloud in 2015 or so. So, when we were like shut down and really couldn't operate inside the office, we were able to really easily say, okay, everybody work from home, and, just use the browser. So
Rich, a couple things. One, can you share how much that cost to build that platform?
Yeah. Well, so
it's still not done.
You guys, no, it's never ever done. And you guys mentioned that, we do consider ourselves a technology first company, and only by the balance sheet. We have actually spent more money collectively on our ERP system, our platform, than we have all machinery in 135,000 square feet.
Fuck.
So, it's millions of dollars that have been invested into the platform.
But I guess you have to look at it like the ROI on that has to be there, right? I mean, it must have saved you millions, or made you millions, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always been something that has been our differentiator. And, I think, that your attitude, how you approach business, your creativity, what kind of machines you have, what scale you're at, all those things are benefits that, would say like, okay, these are things that, we pride ourselves on as an organization. But there is that one thing that absolutely no one has, and that's our technology. And so we can do things such as, we had a hurricane in Daytona. We survived our first hurricane in Florida. When we opened that facility, it's funny enough, we didn't even get flood insurance, because I remember, our CFO Marcella was like, hey, flood insurance is $14,000 extra on top of the premium. And I was like, flood insurance? Nah, we don't need that. And sure enough, we had a hurricane 2 months later. But the technology allowed Joey from his laptop to just move every single order drag and drop, take it off of Daytona and move it into Chicago. Chicago's darkroom got all of the art files. We got the product moved over here, and just like everything just happened along the way. And without something custom built for us, then we couldn't do that. There
That's
would
just
be a
it.
ton of
That custom part. I
additive
mean,
work.
like when we started managing our production, it was on paper. Like we would literally write pen to paper. Here's our jobs for the day, and we started with one piece of paper. Then we would have papers for the week, right? And then it grew to 2 weeks, and then it was like, this isn't working. Dry erase. Then we had 5 dry erase boards. Then we went to giant dry erase boards. People would sit they were in my office. People would come in here at 4:00 and move jobs that like didn't finish, and or actually got pushed because of like maybe they added on or whatever. And we'd just go through, take an hour every day to move jobs around. Nothing was in the cloud. Like if I had to know something when I wasn't here, I didn't know it. I took pictures sometimes of our dry erase, to like have on hand, but still
I'm just thinking like a beautiful mind where he's like writing on the wall and shit.
It was because, we were looking for software for how we ran our shop. And there's really no like one size fits all type of thing. I mean, you can get close, but usually when we were test driving software, it's like, hey, this works great. This works great. This works great, but this doesn't. And we can't use it because of that. And so we explored having our own software built, but they came back with like just even a starting cost where you're like, we just couldn't do it. Then. Yeah.
I mean, it's an undertaking, we had that same progression. I remember Joey taking pictures of our whiteboard. We had the same thing. We like did the whiteboard paint on the actual walls, so we used to write all over them. To be honest with you, I think like, building a piece of custom technology has been such a long labor of love, and like, honestly may not always be the right fit. I mean, there are so many great pieces of software that exist today, like from Printavo and Inksoft and everything kind of in between is like, I look at like, how the business functions as far as like, financially and on a P&L. And it's like, I would say like a typical, whether they're in screen printing or paper printing or boxes or whatever the case may be, that may suffice and actually would drive a far more profitable organization by just paying for something right out of the box. For us, for like, our aspirations and where we plan to go, and like, the ability for us to say like, we are going to realize a 2-day ground ship anywhere in the US, maybe exclude like some crazy Alaska stuff or something like that. But, that means that we have to tie all of these factories together, and we have to have a solution that is specifically built for, how we plan to execute this. So, I think like that's the question is like, where are you, what are you trying to go? What's the long game? And if the long game is like, just run a profitable business, then finding something that works 80% of the way there may really be the best solution for the P&L.
Now, just to kind of talk a little bit more about the technology thing, and you don't have to give away everything because I know it's like your thing and your baby and whatever, but like, is it a lot of it just managing Culture Studio, or is it like 50-50 where it's like you guys have the system for Culture Studio, but you also have the side for the customer to log in and see the progress of their stuff or where it's going or what's happening and all this other stuff? Like how much is it both sides? Because it seems like it's all encompassing of everything.
Yeah, it's it's all encompassing. The front end, we call it like the CP. That's where the catalog lives. An interesting thing about the catalog is that, we're aggregating every API that we've been able to get our hands on into one single place. So, we haven't given it a lot of attention. You asked like, what's the percentage split? The back end is about 80%, and then the front end is about 20%. And now we're setting our focus on that side. but it's not necessarily beautiful, but it's doing some really cool stuff on the back end. So when you look at one of the products on our catalog, you see aggregated inventory across the whole country, every distributor and mill. And so when our client says, okay, we're going to go out and do a buy for lavender hoodies, we don't have to go to S&S Alpha, to the mill, all those places. We just go and put in that lavender hoodie, and our system produces the entire aggregate of inventory. But
And is this something they have to have like a login to get into, or is it like they just go to your website and figure it out?
Yeah, if you go to our website, then they can hit, just click on catalog and they can see it. And then you can, our clients can self-serve, create an account on the platform. They could do some pretty cool stuff. They can watch like an interactive map, see where the product is shipping to and from, and track all their orders and status and, kind of everything in between. So, like, even though it's only got 20% of attention, that is really where our shift is going to happen next. We've been so focused on building these factories and, the machinery. I mean, you guys, know how hard it is just to finance the machines and get the building and bring the power. Another kind of little funny story is, when we closed on the building in Daytona, the day we closed, I asked the realtor, I was like, hey, by the way, you didn't show me, where's the gas line? And he's like, gas line? He's like, there's no gas line. This is Florida. And I'm like, well, we run dryers that, need to be powered by natural gas. And he's like, well, I don't know. Like, there's no gas line. It's 2 blocks away on Fentress Boulevard, almost all the way to the Speedway. And so, we had to hire a contractor, and they pushed, if anybody's ever saw this before, where they push a pipe underneath the ground 2 blocks all the way to the building, ripped our whole parking lot apart to get it through. I mean, it was just insane, off something like, us people that live in like, the cold climates, the Arctic here in Chicago.
You're just so used to it. Yeah.
It's like gas line, like you've got to have a gas line. It's 76,000 square feet. You mean to tell me there's nothing that uses gas? Not in Florida.
Well, now how do you, this ties into another part of the question I had is like, how do you go about like, okay, I want to find property in another state or whatever, and I want to make it work and all this other stuff. Do you hire that out to like a realtor and be like, hey, go find me the perfect property? Or is that on you to be like, I gotta find this, I gotta figure it out?
He's like, I need a vacay. I need to go somewhere where I can get some sunshine. I'll go down.
I'll go down. Well, like selfishly, we did choose Florida because, I'm just like, not a fan of cold weather, just period. I sound simple, but like, it's so cold here in Chicago. It's just like, like I said, it's like the Arctic here. And, just like having energy, in the winter months and having, live events all year was, something very attractive for us to be close to. And the Daytona 500 stadium is something
like right next door to that, right?
We're 2 blocks away from it. We actually parked 100 and something cars in our parking lot during the 500 this year. And for anybody who hasn't visited, the Daytona 500, it is an absolutely insane event. Like, I've gone to I went to, LA and went to like, a hockey game, it's like, like a Mavs game or I don't know, like a Red Wings game. You're like, cool. Like I've seen this before.
Yeah.
It's nothing like 150,000 people and these cars are whizzing by. They fly the Blue Angels into the stadium. I mean, it was freaking insane. So, like just being close to that energy, was really the reason. But, to answer that question specifically, I think what we really have found is like, you need professionnos for like, a lot of like certain elements. Like you need a banker, you need a great bank relationship because, they know what they're doing. They borrow money, they understand risk and so forth, but you use them specifically only for that. We did use a local realtor to find the property, and he was fantastic. But I really led that charge, and I think just like for anybody that owns a shop or is expanding their business or anything else, like to, outsource like something so important, which is like, will be a core competency, like your factory, your facility. You really have to head that up yourself. And, I find so often it's like the professionals may be really incredible at doing one thing, but, owning or operating a business, and being like the person where the buck stops with is totally different skill set that can never be outsourced. And so I really led that charge. I went and saw every single property. We ended up in Daytona because we hired this, absolutely incredible GM to run the facility, Stuart, formerly from, a pretty significant screen printing company, Paramount, previously. And, we brought him on our team, and him and I saw every property. And, some of them were really quick. Like we look and see the ceilings. We're like, nope, next one.
Get out of here.
Yeah. But like we did that. We saw over 100 properties, and, we definitely would not trust that to like a real estate company. It's like, oh yeah, go find me something, when they really won't understand the business.
So yeah. Paramount is right by me. Did he relocated, I guess, down there from here?
Yeah. His story is that, he wanted to move back home. He's from Central Florida. His mom, who I recently got to meet when, I was in Daytona for 38 days. And I lived in hotel rooms for 38 days with my wife and my two daughters, 4 and 1. And I really do not promote living in a hotel room with 2 kids and a wife for that amount of time. It sounded like an incredible concept right off the bat, but I will say, like, we had so much fun, and we'll take those memories back forever. And my daughter's totally, my 4-year-old, so confused. She has no idea. She thinks we have so many homes. And she like, can we go to that other home with the rabbits, with the bunnies? And I was like, oh, that's a hotel. It's not our home, but she really loved it. But yeah, it sounds way more fun than it is, like putting on your outfit, in the dark with 2 kids sleeping to try and scurry off, before the sun comes up.
So the second part of that question is, how do you prepare for shit? Like you said, like you get there, you're like, okay, I got the building, we're going to put stuff in. Then you find out, I mean, it's probably no small dollar amount or thing to figure out to be like, I need gas from 2 blocks away. Like, how do you're just like, oh shit, now I have to budget for this whole ripping the street up project. Like, yeah.
I mean, I will say one thing, we really do have an absolutely incredible team. I've been super blessed to be in business with, both of my brothers, Carlo, who is another brother, basically, he's a best friend growing up. We have an incredible CFO. We have incredible CTO, Oscar, Annabelle from our HR team, and everybody in between. And we really do an absolute ton of risk mitigation. We spend so much time on what could possibly happen. Even in choosing the space, or, first off, like expanding and, almost doubling your footprint from what you currently have. Just like, we modeled out, and sometimes you could put anything in a spreadsheet, but we really thought through like all scenarios, and still, constantly thinking through every scenario. What happens if this client decreases? What happens if the power doesn't come in? We have 2 different powers to the building. That one we brought in special, that's to run the future of, hopefully at least 20 something machines in that building alone. And like, if we don't get that power, what is our other option? There was power already to the building. So, we just try to like really build out every single scenario. And then like every, business should, we build it, ship it, iterate, test. Sometimes we feel schizophrenic.
Is there,
there's times like,
I was just going to ask, is there a brother that's less risky and just like, fuck it, let's build it? And then there's a brother that's like, no, 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 we have to mitigate our risk. And then there's a brother like, I don't care, whatever. You know, like, how does that work with the dynamic of of being brothers? Are they all the same, or is everybody a little different?
No, we're so different. You know, I think something that I missed greatly. You know, I mean, I loved my time out in Daytona, and I just love being there. And the whole team there is just like so excited about, you know, what they're building, and, you know, the building's, you know, just beautiful. It's 37-foot ceilings, you know, it's just like a giant airplane hangar, you know, and it's just like perfectly fit for us. And like, I enjoyed that team so much, but they're new, you know, and like, you know, I definitely have to speak with my softer side, you know, when it comes to that team, and, you know, make sure that I'm not, you know, just like giving people severe anxiety, you know, right off the bat during my like first big visit. You know, I've obviously spent, you know, weekends here and, you know, a couple of days here and there, but that was like my big time. But when I got back home to Chicago, you know, all of us, you know, got in our conference room and we just ripped each other apart. And I just like was so happy to be there because, you know, like with my brothers and I, like we shoot each other really, really straight. You know, we don't really step on each other's toes very much. We're very, you know, I would say siloed out, and we each do something completely independent, and neither of us want each other's job. Especially Joey, you know, like Joey running production at both facilities, 3 shifts in Chicago, 2 shifts in Daytona. Nobody wants his job. So like, you know, we'll tear into each other pretty deeply, but we'll also shy away right after that with the utmost respect, because we don't want to do that job. And we don't, maybe like, we don't even have the skill set to do that job, but, you know, we can align pretty well and say like, this is why we're doing this. And that alignment is always with our customer in mind. You know, like, what does the client really want out of us? And then, you know, we chase that, and then we beat the shit out of each other along the way.
Just curious, is he the youngest?
Joey is the youngest. Yeah. And
where are you?
He's taking the brunt of the work because he feels like he has to live up to his older brothers.
Yeah, like, you know, Joey's always been the talent, you know, like, you know, between, you know, me,
That's
Nick, and Carlo, like, yeah. I mean, you know, like if we had to operate, you know, like even I was just showing somebody our oval, you know, and the oval's got the hybrid on it right now. And like, if you put one of us and we was like, hey, you know, you got to go run that machine, or even worse, it broke. And then like one of us trying to figure that out. I mean, I'd have my laptop out and, you know, try and get the engineers to build a, you know, piece of code, you know, like a program to fix it. And like, I would have no idea where to go. So, you know, we're quite, you know, respectful of like that skill set to tear a machine apart and put it back together, or even get people to understand how to operate it is like wildly hard to find.
Now, with such a big facility in Chicago and years being there and figuring things out, was there like we're just going to duplicate Chicago and Daytona? Or was there a lot of like, oh, I'm glad we get to redo this because definitely don't want this in Daytona, or like you're learning from your mistakes or do's and don'ts? Was there anything like that when it came to building the new place?
Yeah, it is an exact replicant, even in its positioning. You know, one thing that we built that was, I don't want to say it wasn't necessarily by accident, but, you know, I'm like notorious here for systems, you know, like I call myself, like it's like a joke. I'm systems engineer, you know, because at the end of the day, like this is manufacturing, you know, like there's a peanut, you know, factory next to us, and like this is the same business. It's just a different product.
Right.
So, you know, we built a chart, like a flow chart that, you know, has every single machine on it. It has pictures of the individual with stars, and it shows what they've been trained on. And you can, you know, very simply just move these people left and right all over the place, this talent, you know, through the building. And it shows in like one screen exactly where every machine is. And some of the machines aren't necessarily like big giant screen printing presses. They may be transfer machines or inside tag presses, or like, that starts to, when you start piling those on, it's a lot, and so we built this like flow chart that everybody's invited to. And if somebody calls off, we take their icon, their avatar, and we move them in a bucket. We know they're not here. If somebody gets trained to do something else, we move to another position, they're there. And so what we did with Florida was we made it exactly the same. Same darkroom, same presses, same ink mixing system, same everything. And, where that has, just been like leaps and bounds for like us on, I would say like on the customer, success and like really doing something insane, is we just started a tour for an artist in Miami. We produced that entire tour down in Daytona. They then started to make their way to the Midwest. They ran out of 4 styles. We moved that to Chicago, and the exact same product and the exact same way just went right. And we shipped
Keeps
yesterday.
it all streamlined. Yeah.
All
Wow.
streamlined. It's not like, this isn't specialty and like same pallets, same tape. I mean, like everything is the same.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
So as we go down this road of like, then starting to bring ourselves through the other side of the country, the big goal is like this technology is going to connect an exact replica of the supply chain. So we can make that product, and it's like, that recipe is exactly the same. It's, very McDonald's-esque in that thought process.
That's awesome. Can you take a step back real quick and give us the quick story of how you guys got to where you are and how you started?
Yeah, I mean, I can, kind of take it all the way back.
I don't think it's going to be a quick story, so do what you got to do. But
yeah. I mean, I can, summarize and bring it through. But like, in 2005, crazy, how long ago that was at this point. We had a brand of our own, like a streetwear brand, like a luxury streetwear brand. And that brand got us into the entertainment side. And so, we were, throwing parties, running nightclubs, then throwing, big events across the country, and then started to go, down into Mexico. And, we were like throwing these big events. We'd hire the talent, hire the DJs. We would tie the brand into the whole concept. And that's how we got into the music industry and into like entertainment in a whole.
So the brand was putting on the events to raise awareness for the brand?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. It was, quite interesting that synergy is like, we would be paid by the, say, nightclub or bar or whatever the case may be. We would be paid because we would bring a significant volume to that event.
Right.
And we would hire all of the talent. But in the same regard, the brand was the clothing line. Right. And so we would be drawing a lot of awareness. We did a lot of like fashion shows, like lifestyle, not high fashion. And so these things kind of happened in tandem. And so, we did that for quite a few years, almost 10 years. And then, then we kind of moved into the manufacturing side. We were basically met by the industry with like, you can't do this. Oh, we want to do this oversized thing, and this is like 2008 at the time. Like, we want to do water-based inks, we want to do crazy stuff over the seams. And, actually, funny enough, some things we can't even do today, just because it's like, this is a production element, like this is a production center. We can't like burn giant screens and put t-shirts sideways anymore. It's right. Like, just doesn't work for like actual production.
Your flow and your charts.
Yeah, the flows and the charts, man, it's like, it's just not going to work. We never even thought about like a P&L or like profitability. Like, we never even thought of like, how much did this cost to even make? But,
so you bought equipment to fulfill for the brand that you currently had. You weren't doing anything for anybody else.
No, we, got a 900 square foot studio. That's where the studio comes from in our name. And Joey, he was the guy, was like the machine guy. And, we did grow up in a screen printing shop. Our grandpa had a screen printing company in Cicero, Illinois. He used to make like MLB stuff. He did like the original Italian jackets. I don't know if you have ever seen, like, he has your name on the back and the red, white, and green stripe on the sleeve here. He created that jacket. And so as kids, we would go to his shop. I was 13 years old, catching, shirts at the end of the belt and, packaging them. And so, us growing up there, and Joey then started to, take an interest in the machinery. And so we're like, okay, we think Joey can figure this out. And we just got one manual press, and, that's how we did all over printing, just moving the shirt, printing it with water-based inks and moving it. And that's kind of how the studio was born.
And then how do you get from there to all these, big acts?
Yeah, it was just kind of, one client at a time. In 2008, 2009, I think that's when like the transition started to happen away from the brand. Like that was such a tough time to sell $200 hoodies with rhinestones and all over prints. And so, we just kind of just moved over into like, could we make products for other people? And, that's when Carlo was brought on, and we did like, just door to door sales, like flyers, and like moved around the neighborhood, and we started to pick up some like local brands. And, like I'd say like our big shot was Threadless. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. It's a Chicago brand, like a t-shirt website. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, Carlo and I walked in and had actually taken some images from M&R's website and put them in a pitch deck. And we showed them all these, M&R automated presses that we had, in our big factory, when actually we had one 8-color manual, and, a dark room in the bathroom. And they gave us a shot, like, which crazy enough, it's like, and I think we were able to perform, like we got it done, like Joey and Dominic printed every day, all day. I mean, it was like 14 hours a day, hand printing, because the orders at that time, right off the bat, were like 600, 800 and more units, So
it helped you grow quick.
Yeah. I mean, that, and then that was the spiral, and we started to, dive deeper and deeper into the music industry. And, we went from 900 square feet to 9,000, and then 9,000 to 50,000. And, this last one has been 50,000 to 76,000. But now, both operating.
Isn't that a great story, though? Like, isn't that story a better story than, oh, we just went out and bought 10 autos and a bunch of dryers and started, printing like the big guys. I love that's why I love starting, like, hearing stories of garage shops, but also even just a small studio. You had a manual and you did what you had to do to go out and get business until you could, let it ride and then get a bigger space and more autos and whatever. I mean, because I think that's what the hustle is, because I came from nothing, and I love I think not only does it teach you important lessons, but it's just a cool, fun story. A guy was here this morning, crystal clean, because we're going to change the drum that we put when we clean out our auto reclaim, we're going to change out drums. And we were just talking, I gave him a little tour, and he was like, oh man, I've never seen a screen printing shop. And he was looking around and he was like, man, this is so fucking awesome. And he's like, how'd you get started? And I said, out of a garage. And he goes, hell yeah. That's the cool story. And I love that story, and so I don't know, I'd be proud of it.
Yeah. I mean, Carlo has, always had this like philosophy, he heads up our sales team, that we always filled the presses before we got them. And, we would work 2 shifts, even today. I mean, we're 24 hours a day in Chicago. we'll fill that press every single moment of the day before we go out and expand. And obviously everything is risky. I mean, especially in these wild, insane times that we live in. I mean, who knows, like banks are crumbling left and right, like it's like if your money is not even like, secure in a bank account, how risky could we crazy people be to keep opening businesses and expanding them and financing machinery and, buying buildings and like all this crazy stuff. But, we try to be as strategic as humanly possible. And again, just try to like give something to the client that they really, really want and be there for them every step of the way. And definitely fill those things up before we're like, just build this giant facility full of machines. And then like, if you build it, they will come. We've never really taken that, that side. We've always filled the machines and then put more in.
Is there any big risks like that you took and you lost on?
I think there's been so many things like along the way that, I think haven't necessarily fully worked out, but have always kind of, went into a different direction.
Pivoted.
Like pivoted and kind of worked out. I mean, we tried a design tool for the longest time. We built so many pieces of technology that, we thought, hey, these are going to be great and these are going to work out. And then just weren't like accepted. And,
I feel like a lot of people were doing that for a while when it was like Custom Ink came out with their design tool. I feel like everybody was like, we have to have a design tool. And then it just all of a sudden went away. Everyone was like, no, I don't want to do that anymore.
I think we work in such a custom environment, what we collectively do every day with, and dealing with our clients, like it's very hard to get these tools to like operate in that fashion. I think e-commerce ordering is a concept that definitely is going to come to our industry. But it's not as simple as just like ordering this water bottle off of Amazon. It's like the water bottle is custom and then they want a different color hat or like a different color cap. And then, no, I don't want that straw. I want a different straw. And like, can you print on the bottom? It's like, how do you do that in an e-commerce way is the question.
What's like, you seem to be very, like I said, technology driven when it comes to that stuff. Like what's on your mind for like, because I feel like if you're just thinking manufacturing or you're one of your brothers just worrying about like the printing press and it's always like little changes here and there. But I feel like with tech, it's like so fast. Like, all right, we finally got this system figured out. And it's like 6 months down the line, there's a whole new thing to worry about and a whole new thing going on. Like what's next? Like how far ahead are you with planning on stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking to Oscar, our CTO, and I like personally just love the engineers. I love how they think. I love how they force you to, really have the design and the research together. There's so many great ideas that float every single day. And like this place, I'm sure like you guys are full of them, but it's like, can and how do you execute them? All the greatest ideas in the world left in the basement, like from my perspective, means nothing. They're like worthless. It's purely conversational. So we're definitely force each other to really have things designed out into the future, have full front end totally flushed out, the business logic flushed out. And, we right now, what we're working on, as we're shifting our attention to the front end is, giving, these resources that sometimes the client wouldn't even necessarily think about. And, that will not be easy for adoption because, like product recommendations, right? Or, another thing that's big is like floor stock. And when we work on big tours, we're constantly producing, holding, and then shipping out, right? And giving full visibility to that. That's classically done with a PDF packing slip or, a phone call. And so, we're definitely, I would say, far ahead on like doing full research and design. And then, we'll wait right at the point where we think adoption will be, strong. And then, we'll then build that code base out and release the feature. So those are just a couple things that we're kind of working on, that I think, just will like work backwards. And, the whole goal is like make ordering easy,
Right.
and build things that the client had no idea they even wanted. And then find a way to get them to adopt it. Humans and change is really, really difficult. Even for myself, like even, living in that hotel, like I just found myself like totally uncomfortable, and like was just wanting to like pick a shirt off of a hanger. You know what I mean? Like I had clothes in a suitcase for 36 days or something like that. Just change is hard. And so, giving a client, especially a client that you work with so often every day, giving them something new equals change. And so, we just like spend a lot of time on like, how do we roll this out and how are we going to gain good adoption?
How do you feel pivoting off of that? Like, how do you feel with changes in print right now? I know you guys adopted digital or hybrid with like the DS and stuff, but are you diving more into like the DTF stuff, or are you straying away from purely digital, or how are you guys going about that?
We're really trying everything, and perception has been something that I've been kind of fascinated with. Like, we have clients that come to us and like they want the whole tour to be transfers. And I know we bought everybody out of transfer presses. I mean, I think we have 40 of them right now. I mean, we did so many damn transfers. It was unbelievable. And then we got the next opportunity. The tour came. We designed the whole line with transfers, and they did not pick one. They thought it was terrible. We sampled everything out with these like beautiful transfers and like everything from like what our experience of what was on trend. And they went 100% screen printing. So like,
why did they do that? Why did they go from a whole tour to nothing?
Well, this was a different artist, different tour.
Oh, okay.
I'm just thinking, like, I still feel that our industry, perception is all over the place, and that's okay. I think what we've been trying to do is like build the full fleet, like anything that they dream up, anything that we can collectively, we can do. I think the challenge that we all have is, especially, if you're doing production in-house is, when you get an order for 30,000 hoodies with a front, back, a left and right sleeve transfer. And then the client's like, okay, so like what, like 6 days, 7 days? Like, how long is that going to be? Like, a joke that I made, like, you can't be like, hey, like, like give me, like 20 people and 20 transfer presses and let them work, 18 hours a day. Like, it doesn't work like that. You can't just scale up and down,
Mm-hmm.
And so cross training has been a big thing, having the machinery set up and, having like, this is our capacity and this is what we can do. And trust us, I think we've proven this, like, we're willing to do anything, like our team is willing to sacrifice their bodies and, emotionally, physically, mentally to get the job done. But then there are limits. Like, you can't just, say I need 10,000 transfers, or like even when it comes to the hybrid side, the digital, like when we do get something digitally approved, you can't say, okay, now I need screen printing volume. I need 60,000 of these in 48 hours. Like, it's impossible. There aren't enough digital presses or people to run them, especially they're so expensive, like all the digital machines.
Just getting it set up and dialed and everything else is a whole nother thing.
Yeah. And like, the warnings and the errors. And are you guys doing digital, by you guys?
We had one on quote to get a DS and everything. And then I kind of backed off of it a little bit. And then I explored more like the transfer market and everything else, because I was like, I don't know how I feel about this right now. And I'm kind of glad I waited. But I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I just think that like in your market, you're constantly dealing with like tour people. And it's like, how are you handling that with all the different print methods now? Because it's not just screen printing. It's not like they come in and we're just going to screen print everything, dedicate, move presses. Now it's like, this tour wants 10,000 pieces. It's all transfers, and this one wants this, and it's got to go out in 3 days and whatever. Are you guys constantly like, oh fuck, like this has to go, this has to go, this has to go?
Yeah, I mean, like as an organization, we're like absolute chameleons. I mean, we're constantly moving and flexing. And like internally, that can be kind of daunting. I think like team members love consistency. Again, like humans hate change; they love consistency. But we built a culture, around like, hey, the trends change, and we have to adapt quickly, and like. Ultimately our job is to, impress the client's client, and that they rely on us as a production partner to, ensure that we can do anything, across the board. So we're constantly fluctuating back and forth. And, like I said, like we bought every transfer machine that was available. And now I don't think we have a transfer order running currently, so here we are, have all these machines, but the team members are cross-trained, and, there's some fun to doing something different, especially for the production teams. It's like, I don't always pull off of a screen printing machine. I do some transfer stuff. I do some specialty stuff. I've run a digital before. I'm working one of our Corneat machines. Like, they're able to like kind of bounce around, learn new skill sets. And, I think that's funner than, kind of always doing the same thing.
Yeah. I've been sitting on this for a little while, and there's a podcast that I listen to that some buddies of mine do. They're like contractors. They own construction companies, and they build like these amazing houses and stuff. It's called Modern Craftsman, but they said something interesting that I never thought of really. And it was kind of like, are we creating efficiencies to become more profitable? Like just so we make it super efficient, so we're just making more money and putting it in our pockets? Or are we adding efficiencies to be able to come in at a lower price point to be more competitive? So like,
yeah, I mean,
I guess this is a question for all of us, is like, is that what we're doing? Is because it's kind of smart in like your industry, because the band world and all those, they're very like, I feel like they'll go to another person for 50 cents cheaper. Like, do you put in those efficiencies to be like, I can meet you at this price and still be profitable?
Yeah, I mean, I believe have always been, a good advocate for retaining our prices, and, ensuring that, like we're not necessarily, trying to, have this insane gross margin, because we're a wholesaler, where we're selling in volume. So I think we fully understand, what is like an acceptable gross margin for our client to be able to resell that product. Mm-hmm. We're almost never selling to the end user. We're, selling something in its entirety, a full package, but then, that client has to sell it to the band or sell it to the fan, to the end user. But we're definitely not in the business of driving prices lower, trying to be more efficient to drive prices to the bottom. And, I think just nothing good comes out of that. And, even for our industry, to like, hey, listen, like it takes a lot of effort, to do what you guys do every single day, like it is, definitely a skill set and an industry that, should, command, honest prices, and, to then say like, oh, we did this huge product development, we did 13 styles that we developed these awesome, unique products, and, did the design, did the actual product development and then have that client say, oh, I can go take your design and do it cheaper, down the street. And they allow me to provide my own garments. So now, I could, buy cheaper from the distributor and then have them slap the ink on it. We're like, we stand our ground pretty strong. It's like, we're trying to offer and add as much value as possible. And we're not trying to be, insane and get like retail margins. These are like, satisfactory, normal, wholesaler manufacturing margins that shouldn't be undercut. There's only one road to the bottom.
Yeah. I feel like you guys can stand your ground though, too, because you have that technology side that most people don't. Like you have the ease of use and they can track their order. They're not just blindly being like, hope this gets to the tour on time.
Yeah. I mean, risk mitigation is something that we often talk about, like, and hope to command a premium. But yeah, I believe that our entire industry should hold that strong. You shouldn't discount, like what you're doing. And we see that a lot, like I said, like if we design an entire line sheet for a client, we may spend 30 collective hours on that. And then the client's like, well, yeah, but I can do contract printing down the street and it's, 40 cents a print. And we're like, yeah, but we did 30 hours of design work, like these concepts wouldn't even be in your brand, like you wouldn't even have thought of these, these great concepts, and how we pair the product with the design and everything that, it's a value add. Rather some competitors didn't spend all that time and their costs are lower. And so they're willing to do something for a lot
but they
less.
end up with a shittier outcome. They end up with a shittier product because they didn't have all that time and care put in. Yeah.
Always. I think, that's the challenge with on demand. I'm sure you guys are met with, like I want to do on demand. And, like I would say like kind of the oxymoron to that is like, I want on demand with bulk quality. And it's just not possible. If you have one of one and, that one graphic has to go on that one Cardinal shirt, it is what it is, like, and you can't test 7 of them to do one perfectly. You know what I mean? Like that, unless you're going to charge $100 for that one piece. So, it's like, I think it's like you have to pick, which side of the business, you want to be on and what kind of product you're going to stand behind. And, there's like physics at play sometimes that are against you, like if you want on demand, then you have to be comfortable with it not being perfect. We're only making one.
Are you guys thinking of the next place now that you're like out west or something so you can meet that 2-day? Like, is it already in the works?
Yeah. I mean, we're only filled in Daytona, maybe 20%. And we actually, I think something that could be super unique for the industry that, we're kind of searching for. And, I love to kind of put this out to your audience too, is like, because we have so much space there, we would love to do more than our core competency. And so, whether we get into like, cut and sew on the sublimation side or dye and wash, like we're really open to partnering, with, like somebody who is absolutely incredible at something and, then we can drive business to it. So that's like where our focus is right now is, getting more services, like just like, even if it's not full dye, even if it's like post print wash, whether that's like enzyme washes or silicones or like, like do like a vintage hard wash on the print and the product itself. But we'd love to, do some partnerships down in Daytona, really like build that one out. And then we'll start to, work our way to the west after that.
You really want to offer everything.
Yeah. Especially if it's in a partnership. I don't know if like, our team necessarily has all of those core competencies, so well, like if it isn't completely in our wheelhouse, we always look to partner. And that's, that hasn't necessarily like, always worked out for us, but like that has always been our positioning, is like we love to work with, all different types of, makers, like factories across the board. If there's anything that, we say like we don't believe we can be the best at, we partner up. And we built some really, significant, great relationships in that way. And then, like there's the synergy that happens, and we enjoy those synergies rather than us trying to say like, we're going to attempt to be great at absolutely everything. I think
and you get spread thin.
You get spread thin. I mean, I was just out, last night. Some people were talking about, some, big giant companies that we know about that, like, they literally do everything under their roof, and like, they're just not good at any of them, because they're super spread thin. And even if you're a giant company with endless resources, it's still hard to be good at everything.
Yeah. Just barely getting by with all of it. I want to hit you with some listener questions, unless Andy, did you do any AI questions for him?
I have a ton of questions before we get to that stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
This has been a lot of good stuff here that I wrote down a few. So how hard is it having 2 locations, 3 shifts, basically 24 hours in Chicago, and then 2 shifts in Florida? Do you have a full-time HR? Do you outsource that? At what point did you add that? Because I know here personally, that's one of the most challenging parts of the shop. So what do you do for HR?
Yeah, Annabelle, she's darn near 10 years on the team. If she isn't, she's right there. She could be a sister to us. She has been an absolute, intimate part of the organization, because, someone told me, a while back, this incredible entrepreneur, her name's Nancy. She runs Food for Thought. She asked me, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" And I was like, "Oh, I make, concert t-shirts." And she's like, "No, you don't." And I was like, "Okay, this is a odd way to strike up a first conversation." And she's like, "You manage people, and people make concert t-shirts." And I was like, "Okay, that was quite impactful." So, that is what we do. We manage people. We hope that, we lead them down a career path. They're instantly part of the team, and we recruit, like a team. We recruit like a sports team. But once you're on the team, we treat you like family, even if you do some dumbass shit. And so, Annabelle has like, she's the nucleus there. And, we use, all kinds of different, unique recruiting methods. We hired 45 people before we opened, down in Daytona. That was a undertaking, to say the least. But we try to just drive.
What do you mean you recruit like a sports team? Go into that a little bit.
Yep.
Can you describe that? What do you mean exactly?
Tryouts on a field.
Yeah, tryouts like
that would be awesome, wouldn't it? Here's a press to go.
We say we recruit like a sports team, because like, like when it comes to a family, like, you have to hire your family, right? Like, or in that family, you have to deal with your cousin or sister or aunts, like, they're family, right? But we're like, I would say like very, very, like recruiter, we're constantly building, what we call our list. These are incredible people that we want to hire one day, like Stuart. And, like we're always scouting, we're always trying to find like who's top talent. And then, before we bring them on, this is a crazy ass place to work. And, I like, at least from, things I've heard, like we are definitely at, like the highest pace possible because of the industry that we're in. We turn orders very often same day, purchase order at 9:30 and leaves the building at midnight to go to the show the next day. And, to produce like numbers, and we don't have like, we're not the biggest shop in any way, shape or form. We compete against big, giant, hundreds of thousands of square feet. And so we have to be the absolute most scrappy, and, the ones that will, put on those extra hours, or go drive and get the garments immediately if we don't have them, or, go pick up some ink from the supplier if they're not able to deliver it, or anything in between. And so we try to tell people about that. Like, this is going to be super high pace. You're going to come in here and potentially get severe anxiety. And the client
right off the bat, it's on the first paragraph to them.
It is on the first paragraph.
I love setting expectations. I always tell that to the person so I had an interview I think it was on Monday, and I always let them know, look, this culture here is that we all try and have good energy, good vibes, positive energy, but this is fast paced. We are on our feet. We are printing shirts. There are certain times of the year where it is more chill, but other times where we have 10 hours of work and an 8-hour day, and we got to figure it out. And so if you want to be a part of that, cool. I have this thing where, this is like a part 2 of that question is so we have somebody starting next Monday. Here's our official employee handbook. I usually have it bound, but I just don't have it. I ran out. I don't have time. I printed out. Yeah. Normally it looks more fancy, but this is just basic.
Leaf.
They usually just throw it, like toss it anyway, but
yeah,
I make them sign, I want them to read through it. I think it's important. And then they can sign this back page so that they know that they've gone over it. And then I have the direct deposit, W-2, just a basic forms. Okay. Day 1, this is what you fill out. And then I like to do, hey, somebody take them to lunch, or somebody, say hi, so that when you start your first day on a job, you're nervous. You don't even know where you're going to take a shit. And, here you are in this building, and you have to, you try to be on your best behavior and make friends and all that kind of stuff. And so why not take them out to lunch? Do you guys do anything special, for, like you said, you hired 45 people. We're way smaller scale, but how do you introduce them to your culture? What do you guys do?
They got to print 10,000 shirts on the first day.
Yeah. For day 1. Right. Yeah. And back to treating people like family, like I said, because we try to, recruit in that method is listen, we just want to be upfront with you. It's going to be insane. You have to be comfortable. You have to be super comfortable with being uncomfortable. But with that comes, a really, really deep relationship on the other side. Whether that's somebody, who makes a giant mistake, enters a purchase order incorrectly, and we produce tens of thousands of products. We support you. We have your back. Or somebody who gets hurt, or gets, is pregnant and is going to have a child. We really go above and beyond family style. How would you treat your sister, or how would you treat your, aunt, uncle, or whatever the case may be? I would say the biggest challenge that, Annabelle has, and I, and the rest of the leadership team is when you are hiring people, so fast. And now, when you're hiring somebody in another state, we try to build the culture of both places to constantly be authentic, and authenticity is something that is so top of mind and, big to us. We don't do any town halls necessarily, everything is very intimate. We try to work within our teams. I work with our executive teams. We bring people in, we call them influencers, we're constantly trying to say just dive right in to you do a specific job. How do you do this job? How can we help here? But then we'll zoom back out, and we try to make it an authentic culture, rather than someone screaming from the mountaintop how much, here's how we do things. And
right.
Here's where we're going, I've, even when I went to Daytona, I was there for all that time. And I just, everybody down there is absolutely incredible. Stuart, obviously, he's the boss down there. He's just a rock star. But then you have Greg, who runs logistics, and then you have Arturo and Cynthia that run production and HR down there. And, all of them, on towards the end of my trip, were like, hey, can you like give us some feedback, or can you like, you haven't yelled yet. You haven't like called something out yet. And I was like, yeah, that's not my style. Like I'm working in the background. And then, like I finished something. I was there 2 weeks, and I finished something, and I brought everything to, I brought the team together, the influencers here. And I was like, hey guys, I want to roll out this purchasing system, right? Every time we purchase something, you're going to enter it into the system, and then it'll move when it, is going to be purchased. And then when you get the tracking, you add the tracking, and then everything like has a system. And the reason why I think this is important is because I was sitting on the dock with Brenda quite a few times, and 30 boxes show up, and she's like, hey, do you know any idea where these, where this table goes? And I was like, I don't know, like, oh, well, that's cool. We'll put that aside. Do you have any idea where these 30 boxes of beach towels go? No, I have no. Okay, put that aside. And so rather than, initially standing at the dock or like going into Slack and be like, well, what the hell? Like, why doesn't anybody know where these go? Like I collected that. I continued to like analyze it. And I was like, okay, here's where I believe I can add significant value. I'm going to roll out this purchasing system to the entire organization. Got adoption, rolled it out. Then I went on to the next one. And so like working in that manner, I think has brought like deep trust, throughout the organization, where like, no one comes down from any tower and like strikes, it's more like we're all here to add value. And, I humbly don't know how to do most of, what our team does. And so, if I see something that I believe that I can make better, then I do it, very like authentically in the background. And then I try to roll it out without, kind of stampeding over anybody.
I think that's a good way to lead.
The systems and processes. Is that?
Yeah. I mean, focus? I love systems. Like I said, I love the engineers, and I love, the concept of like design, and engineering, and I don't necessarily always mean software. Even as something like what you just showed me, like, handbook, and, we have a operating manual and everything else that for me, that's just as design impactful as the UI that you see when you log into the platform, and it doesn't always have to be so damn, innovative. Sometimes like, that same thing, like that book that you have right there, for me, that's beauty, like that design is tangible, what I mean? Yes. Like beautiful. So like, that's how I think of like everything is a system. And, I try to, give team members 90% of the way there. So then that next 10%, they could just cognitively think, because everybody that is on our team is super smart or chosen for a reason. I would say like about strict, absolutely, no troublemaker rules, like, and we don't even care. You may be like the greatest press operator or the greatest designer, engineer, anything. You got to be a good person to join the team. And for that, you can think. But if you think the whole way and you have to try and figure it out every single day, then like you're going to make some mistakes. You're going to make yourself nervous, and then that's how mistakes happen. So building systems helps that.
Yeah. I mean, what would you rather have? A 10 out of 10 press operator that's a total dick, or an 8 out of 10 press operator that is positive energy and a good person and it gets along with the team? I mean, it's obvious. Yeah. Okay. So I got a few more before we get on. Is that okay? You got time?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, please. Yeah.
Next one would be, well, this kind of rolls off the HR one, is that with that intensity, do you get a lot of burnout, or because you're setting those expectations, right early on, are they, I guess, do you get people that understand, and are you getting the right people initially? Or do you get people that get in there and it's like, wait, this is way too much. I know you said it was intense, but I'm out.
Running out of the building on fire.
Yeah. You know, us old people, you know, I don't speak for you guys, I'm speaking for me. Well, Carlo, he's old too now. But, you know, I think one kind of like comical thing is like, there is a pattern with most people that come onto the team. It's like we believe we tell, especially if you work in like a, you know, super high touch, high profile role, like, you know, a key account manager, you know, is going to be instantly thrown into a big music label with people that are just absolutely ferocious. And we can say that we do a semi good idea, you know, good job of like setting that up. It's like, you really have to like be prepared for this. And you have to be prepared for like, this order has to go out. And if it doesn't go out, then it doesn't go to the stadium. And like the stadium tour doesn't happen next week. It happens one day only. And if we miss that day, it could be millions of dollars in lost revenue. That's a big weight to put on a new account manager's shoulders. And so, you know, we try to like set that up best that we can, but it never works. You know, like it's always this pattern of like, okay, yeah, I get it. And then come in, and then there's definitely go through a process where this is overwhelming. And we try to make that overwhelming part the normal, you know, like this is normal. And Carlo and I try to support, and Joey and, you know, everybody on the team, we try to support them the whole time through that. And then it's just that, we laugh along the way because like the patterns are so similar. You know what I mean? It's like you come in, you cry, you know, you have a success, you cry.
There's tissues on everybody's desk.
Yeah. They're like, why aren't you upset about this? You know, like, why aren't you losing your mind? Like, why isn't your hair on fire? And we're like, because we've seen this 1,000,001 times. That's like, you really can't excite me. It's pretty hard. You know, to really like, you know, get me like, you know, especially in like raise like higher tone, like it's next to impossible. It's so patterned. And then there's something that just happens where they take ownership and they take like, I get this, and these are high profile clients, and this is fast paced. And I feel like there's a change in like how they approach life too. You know, like there's a significant level of stress that they can handle in their personal life. Even like a car, you know, oh my God, I got a car accident. Like I could look at this one person that got on the team, and like, if they would have gotten a car accident when they first came on, they would have lost it, you know, but like, hey,
right.
you know, good morning. Hey, how you doing? Oh, I crashed my car. Fuck it. You know, like
you're conditioning all these people.
We've all,
the only thing that we do is like,
looks like we've all grown up. It sounds like around a shop, you know, and I have learned so much. Joanne is my wife. She's worked here and grown up here too, you know, and she yesterday had a meeting with Saks Fifth Avenue for her own. She has an art side hustle, which is actually her main hustle now. And so she had a meeting with Saks Fifth Avenue to go, and because she's going to show there, and she had to meet 5 people. Last minute, actually, they called her and said, hey, can you bring some of your work to show us? Because the manager of the store is going to be here and they want to see it. She scrambled, put the stuff in her car, put it on a dolly, wheeled it in to this place, and presented in front of 5 people with confidence, and then walked out, and they want her to come, you know, show in August. And so it's like, I think that this is taught not only like the people that start here, that maybe some of them are right out of high school or college or whatever, and given them confidence. It's interesting how that works, isn't it? Because it's also taught me, and also Joanne, you know, it's given me more confidence just dealing with this stuff every day. So
it just beats you down so hard that nothing matters anymore. You're just like, oh,
that's true too. Like it definitely has hardened me. It hardens you because
the streets.
You've had it all. You know, you've had people I've had people tell them they're going to kill me, you know, and so you've got to like somehow learn to deal with that kind of stuff.
As far as your, it goes to what your wife has done, if our industry is, teaching anybody anything, is to be resilient, you know what I mean? Like, just to have that ability to like handle a client that is upset, and like, is your t-shirt order like really the end of the world, but to them, it just may be, and it's like, it's so important to them. So it's like this industry can definitely teach some good life lessons.
And also, sometimes you just got to say, "Hey, it's t-shirts." It's just a t-shirt.
It's just t-shirts.
So
yeah.
It's hard to tell a huge act that's going to make millions of dollars off those t-shirts. It's just t-shirts.
Oh, it's just t-shirt. Yeah, it's just.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't worry
Tell me about it.
We didn't cut off the wrong leg or anything. I mean,
yeah.
Let's see. I've got another one. You were saying earlier how you made this pitch deck. You had some pictures from M&R and their factory and stuff, yet you didn't have a factory. I was talking to somebody, they had called me earlier today, and they just bought a building, or they were trying to buy a building. And so it was like they hadn't accepted, they made an offer, the person hadn't accepted the offer, and it had just been sitting and sitting and sitting. And their reason why they didn't sign was that it's contingent upon them getting another place, But now all of a sudden interest rates are going up, and they're like, well, fuck, this is now going to cost me more. I mean, I need this. You need to shit or get off the pot. So they bluffed and said, you got 48 hours or I'm moving on to the next building. They really wanted that building, of course, but they bluffed. And so then the person came back and said, okay, and they signed it. So it's done. How important is bluffing? Isn't it weird that we have to do this? Because I've done the same thing. You almost have to sometimes be pretty cool about things and bluff to get through. And it's something I've learned along the way. And I just noticed it because it seems like everybody has one of those stories.
Yeah, the old realtor trick is like, hey, you really should put your offer in. We have multiple offers.
Oh yeah,
like it's like. It's like, okay, well, the property's been on the market for 279 days, and all of a sudden, I do the tour and you have multiple offers, right? But, I think there's something about like telling, a complete fairy tale, that is, I don't necessarily align with, but like, showing that these are your aspirations and I'm willing to, to really execute no matter what it takes, I think is the only way to grow. Like if you have this mentality of like, well, I got 2 presses, 1 shift, 300 units per hour minus lunch. I could do, 900 garments a day. Like, and that's it. If that's your mentality, I think you have a really hard time with growth. You have maybe great with efficiencies, or even profitability might work out well in that, way. But like, our perspective is always about growth. And, in order to grow, you have to be, this is my state a month from now, or this is where I know I'm going to be. And, every time we've said that we were going to do something, we did it. There's not a single time where we're like, hey, we're going to show pictures of this product that we can make, but actually we can't get it done. We'll kill ourselves before that happens. We'll go down burning and dying before we.
You got to back it up. Yeah. That leads into a good question. One of the listener questions, Matt Marcotte, a buddy of both of ours, says, what advice would you give someone struggling to get their shop sales up and break into new markets? P.S. Love you, Rich.
Yeah, I love Matt. Matt's such like a, industry dominator, like across the board. Like he's just like constantly in the right place. And, I love him for it. And he has an incredible personality. He's like, has like this another person like Nick Wood, it's like somebody who's like always a lovable, good person. Like I wish I had like more of that like skill set where like, this is like, I have a best friend of mine. It's like, I just, for some reason, really like this guy. I don't know what the reason is, but Matt and Nick both have that skill set and that trait. It's like, I just don't know what it is, but I really, really like them. But, I would say like, the only way that, and Carlo has, really head up our sales team is like by driving into relationships every single which way. And it's could be, often very uncomfortable, but, trying to figure out who those clients are that fit, with what you want to do, that you think you're going to be able to deliver value to, and being relentless with them. Not on like, the spam side, but like, I'm here for you, and,
Right.
and here's the product that I can produce, and here's the value that I add. And, these are 4 great reasons why, you should give us an opportunity. And you don't necessarily, have to take the business from somebody else. You can be, carving out your own, pretty much, I believe, Matt is going to sell a product to somebody that is going to resell it, or give it away. So that, that to me is they're not the end user. So if you're producing or giving or adding value to that, then it should be all upside.
Matt at Relentless asks, what's the biggest obstacle you deal with on a weekly basis? He's got a 2-part question, so I'll let you answer this one first.
Yeah, I would say, managing volume, is definitely, a pretty sizable challenge. I think all of us are, constantly, met with, like you talked, the pricing thing. And, I can provide my own garments. And I have this funny thing that I constantly do with like, hey, I'm walking into the, chicken, the chicken shop, and I'm like fried chicken place. And I'm like, hey, I got my own chicken. Can you throw it in can you throw it into the oil there for me? Just how much you charge me to throw it in the oil? And so, I think we're all met with those obstacles, but like, I would say like the number one challenge is like quality is absolute table stakes. And, everyone in the organization has to believe that we have to make the best product, and we have to deliver something to the fan that is spectacular. And that's just like, that can't be like, this is what is the differentiator. That has to be, absolute table stakes. And so managing that at scale, like across lots of volume, and, not quality in just the product, but it could be quality in how we interact, whether that's getting packing slips out correctly, or, does this service required on this order? And, when every client has a totally different workflow, this client gets polybagged, this one gets stickers, this one doesn't, this one gets hang tag, which SKU. We could build all the tech in the planet. And I think we continue to make everyone's lives easier by having that served right up in front of them. But ultimately, when every single order is totally custom with all these different uniques, different substrate, different garments, different ink types, different everything, that's challenging to manage. And especially if you're going fast. So, I would say that's number one.
His second part is, if you can, please explain a little on how contract printing works on your scale.
I think, I'll take out like the definition of contract that our industry, has. Our industry, I believe, if you guys agree, like define contract printing as the client supplies their own garments. Yeah. And, that's a pretty, sizable conversation. I think it's an easy concept, from inception to say, okay, I can intake your garments and apply a service to them. But when you scale that out to say, 40,000 units a day on average across multiple facilities, if we're not handling everything, that means sourcing the garment, even better, having the garment in stock and pulling from the shelf. And then we get thousands of boxes per day. So to be like, which one box is yours coming from 9 different warehouses? Oh, I ordered half of them from SNS and the other half of them from Sanmar and the other half of, from Alpha. Oh, but I didn't tell you that. So all of a sudden our docks are just flooded with stuff that is coming from who knows, God knows where. And all those orders have to go out the door in 2 days. And so when we're in the dark, that makes a very inefficient workflow. And, like the concept of quality and speed, when we're not in the dark, we deliver every single time. When we're half in the dark, it is really, really hard to deliver. And then that product, here you go, you have an order for this unique tri-blend shirt, right? That we didn't order. Then that shirt shows up and we put it on the press and it goes through the dryer and we have bleed on the underbase, right? Because we have no idea where it comes from. I mean, you guys know, there's a million variables. So when we're in the dark, we're very often significantly unsuccessful.
Is that what you tell
most of our?
Is that what you tell your clients when they want to buy their own shirts? Do you tell the same thing to them? And does it work?
Yeah, to be completely frank, I've talked about this with every distributor. Like, I don't know where it went wrong. I don't know how on earth our clients can buy garments from distributors. And they're probably not going to like that I say this, but like the ASI industry did such a better job with holding on to, whoever is the ASI distributor has an ASI number. And then for that, they're allowed to buy products at wholesale, right? And manage the whole process. Like a promotional products company, right, wouldn't accept your water bottle and then go and put a print on it, right? Like that would be crazy talk. Like what plastic is it? You know what I mean? Like what ink do I use?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is this recycled plastic? Is it you know what I mean? Like when you apply this to a different, like you don't walk into, your company that's going to make business cards and be like, hey, I brought my own paper. Can you put some ink on my paper?
I got some loose leaf that was rolled around the back of my car. Can you put on this too?
Yeah. Like this absolutely doesn't, or the same thing. Like you ever gone to a steakhouse and be like, hey, I got 2 fillets and a T-bone. Can you throw them on the grill? Like I don't know how our industry went this route, It
does suck,
but like
for sure.
when you,
I mean, it does suck. We have customers that are buying shirts and they bring them in here. I get it. Why? So here's the resistance I get whenever we give that speech. And it is that we're going to mark the shirt up. Why are we going to mark the shirt up? Well, we've got to do the ordering. We've got to guarantee the shirt now, because if there's a hole in one or whatever, that's on us. It's not on them anymore. And so, yes, we're marking the shirt up, and they're like, well, look, I'm giving you why do I have to pay? I'm buying 1,000 shirts and all of a sudden it's costing me this much more money. And so we get resistance like that. And so how do you counter? What's your rebuttal?
Our rebuttal always is, what is the risk associated with this order not turning out correctly? And in order for us to guarantee success, we have to handle the entire process. And even better, like when we're not waiting on the dock, I mean, we're just getting into spring a little bit. I mean, it was 21 degrees out today when I took my daughter to school and then went to the gym. It was like literally like snowing and freezing. It's terrible. But we're going to start to get into, tour season, and we're going to start to get into heyday for this entire industry, right? And if we're sitting at the dock waiting, hoping, dreaming that the UPS driver is going to show up and have some garment for us, that you purchased, you can't operate a business like that at scale. We have to manage the entire process. And if we're unable to manage the entire process, then we are subject to failure. And that's the biggest one. And if you don't see value in that, then, feel free to roll the dice somewhere else, and I'm guessing you could do it. Sometimes it works.
Right. So whatever they're going to save whatever they're going to spend extra because you're providing the shirts, they're going to make back on the other end because they're always going to have their shirt at the stadium, or I mean, at the show. You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense.
I can't tell you how many times a client has called us and been like, it is 3:30. Where is the tracking? And we're like, what do you want us to put ink on? You know what I mean? Like, we don't have any garments, What do you mean you don't have any garments? Yeah, they didn't show up. They're not here. What, did you track them? How? You ordered them. What do you mean did we track? Like, and I think you guys have an amazing audience and great reach, and I think that's, while I'm going deeper into this, I think, this industry in a whole, how on earth, we allow this. We should be so much
Let's
deeper
band it all
together. Yeah. Like,
start a movement.
It should be like, yeah, she's got to start a movement. It should be like the ASI industry, and listen, if we're not providing value, then we deserve nothing. All of us should be providing ultimate value. And, we're here to make a great product and power, these brands to, make great revenue. And what the hell is a brand doing ordering garments? Well, you guys should be, any brand that you guys are working with or we're working with, you should be worrying about marketing or ticket sales or, social, media influencncers. We don't do social media influencers. We don't sell tickets. We don't have an e-com store. Right? Like if you can focus on what you're doing, how many more t-shirts could you sell if you weren't busy ordering garments? Learn Google AdWords, be you know what I mean? Like, let us empower you to be what you are best at,
I'm just going to save this clip of Rich ranting, and I'm just going to send it to every customer who asks me to supply their own garments.
I like it.
Here, listen to this jerk talk, right?
This is perfect. Last listener question. Gorilla Joe asks, when building out a new facility from scratch, needing utilities ran and buying new equipment, hiring employees, how much of your own money do you allocate to that project, and how much do you borrow from the bank? Doesn't need to be a dollar amount, just like percentage wise. Is there a smart way to go about it, or is it just whatever you got, you do?
Yeah, I would say, first and foremost, having a bank that understands your vision is probably the most important part of the entire business. On the finance side, even with all this insanity that happened over the weekend, Marcello and I were sipping pina coladas because we've taken a lot of time and effort to ensure that all of our funds are one, secure in the right places, actually in products that are fully FDIC insured, since actually I think everything's FDIC insured now. I guess that's what the government said, but we spend a lot of our time and collective effort choosing the right bank. We bank with Associated Bank. They really understand our vision. Knock on wood, things have gone well so far. But there is a product that I believe, lots of all entrepreneurs should know about, because especially if you're running the business, you're physically running the business, the SBA through your bank, through your regional bank that you work with. Like if anybody's, banking with Bank of America or Chase or something like that, as a small business, you may feel more secure with where the funds are, but you're probably not going to have the best, access to capital. So finding a bank that is sizable enough that you can trust the deposits, even it's a crazy thing for us to even say now, but then believes in where you're going and your vision. And then you could start to turn your eyes onto the SBA, and any regional banker knows and has an SBA division. And so that whole process has, really allowed us to, finance machines, finance purchases of buildings, try to get us in the 10%. So whatever, you asked me for a percentage, whatever, we're borrowing in a whole, the SBA will allow you to go down to 10%.
Nice.
And that's super helpful, for a small business, or, for any one of us that, want to have as much access to capital as possible. And, really understand, how the, finances break up, and is this model actually work? And as long as it does, then the SBA has been, really great in standing behind us and continuing to fund projects.
Nice.
I've got one for you.
Go ahead.
Piggybacking off of it's always good to have a good banker. I've got 5 things that you need. The big 5: banker, legal, accountant, insurance, and then we like to have a partner in t-shirts. So like my rep, we buy a lot of t-shirts, and they're basically our partner because we're dealing with them every day. We're buying shirts every day. There's issues every day. And so they're just as important to us, that partnership anyway, as our accountant, because I'm on the phone or texting with her all the time too. So those are my 5. Do you have any to add? Do you have a 6th?
Yeah. I think I could add just one more to that. I'm guessing, our collective jobs here is to hold people accountable. And I think all of us have a different style. There's like the sergeant, there's the person who allows you to walk all over them and do anything. There's somewhere in between. But I think what's important is, for us as leaders to have somebody that holds us accountable too. And no matter if that's your partner or, in my case, I've got an amazing, guy named Joe Fife. He's the chair of my Vistage group that I'm in. And he was like a senior VP at Midas Corporate Global for a while. He's done all kinds of incredible things. He's on our board. When I lead the board and he's with us for those meetings, and I'm ultra cautious on how I address my team. And I'm ultra cautious on, the agenda items and how they flow. And if something is off, he will call me out very, very elegantly. I try to learn this trait from him. He is so good at making you feel an inch tall, but, impactful on, are we hiring, and have I really approved the model according to how many people we're hiring? And so if Annabelle from our HR team's like, oh, we hired 12 people, but yet gross margin went down, he'll call me out right there in the meeting. He was like, well, how did you really understand the model, the impact on the business to hire this amount of people? And if I don't know the answer, I'm very, very, thoughtful and we'll take back and ensure that I'm well prepared. So having somebody hold me accountable has been very, very helpful to me. Otherwise you feel like, yep, whoops, I didn't notice that one. And it's easy to get, kind of unfocused there.
How did you find him? You said he's part of your Vistage team.
Yeah. Vistage is like a CEO, actually like an absolute massive company. As I dove into it's like a national or global, CEOs from all over the country. There's 16 people in my group. And it's not networking, it's education. So 8 hours a day, you're in an education class with a speaker with a different topic every month. And then you're having one-on-ones once a month. And then if you please, you pay this person to join the board. In the case of Joe Fife, he was in his expertise and experience was an easy, decision for me to have him join our board. And, certainly makes me wiggle and makes me super uncomfortable often, and especially because that's in front of my team. But it has been ultra helpful for us.
That's sweet. Yeah, I think I need someone like that to kick me in the nuts every so often and keep me going.
You have to. Yeah.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. Well, Andy, do you want to do some quick takes?
Sure, let's do quick takes. You ready, Rich?
Hey, you always go first.
Yeah.
So.
How do you start your day?
So I start my day every day. I drive my 4-year-old to school, who's 4 going on 18 right now. So
Mhm.
that's always, funny. Like Giselle has like the most insane, massive personality, and she's so particular, like she's a perfectionist like I've never seen before. So I take her to school every day, pack all my bags up, and then I go to the gym. Try to work out, every single day, just like to be active. And then, I'm in the office from, right around 9, I could come in a little after that. And then I usually try to schedule my first meeting at 10 o'clock. So, that's pretty much my morning.
And you're there till what, like 5 o'clock?
No, I'm usually there later. I'm there to like 6:30 or something like that. And then, if I like to, then be active in the morning because, then I try to go on to do something else, whether that, meet somebody interesting or like last night I had a cool dinner with this Hampton group. So there's all these incredible entrepreneurs, mostly in tech. So try to, get out and actually Steven, from Campus Inc. Was there last night. So yeah, like, be able to, be around super interesting people like him. And, not necessarily have an agenda, just like, hang out. And we, had some paella and, just got to talk about like, how we all have the same problems pretty much.
Mhm.
Steven, I love you.
Yeah, same.
Xbox, PlayStation, PC, video games, or they're all lame?
Yeah, I just never got into it. I'm super into design. I have a design background, like, Adobe Suite and Figma and all that. So, I would say like my time that would be applied to like playing a video game or something like that is usually applied to building some front end, something that Oscar then tells me is, completely insane and can never be done. And we have Figmas for like every possible, different website or app or, anything that you can imagine under the sun. We have, full Figmas drawn up. So I like have my laptop on my lap, while my wife watches some like aimless housewives or something like that. I just keep looking up like, what did she say? I just go back.
Go back to what you were doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Night in or night out?
We're pretty social, like we're always, trying to be out. We travel a ton. My wife, Jacqueline's a travel agent. So, that was pretty easy for us, for, doing this new factory in Florida. So, we go out a lot. We have a lot of close friends. We try to always be social, but, also my wife's like an incredible cook and she cooks, for the kids, and myself every single day. So, we're either out being social or, she cooks and we're home with the kids.
Something random that brings you joy.
Let me see. I love being on the water. My kids, like just being out on a boat.
Are you a lake
had
person?
One here in Chicago. No, I'm an ocean person. Unfortunately, I'm pushed into lake life here in Chicago, but my dream is, just to have a place, on the ocean eventually, a nice boat, just be out on the water, doing anything, like just living a water life is definitely like my guilty little pleasure.
You guys got a pretty big lake. I mean, it's not like
massive.
It's practically an ocean.
It's nastier than an ocean, I would say. Like the ocean is usually calm, like beautiful. Even on the East Coast, like in Daytona, that ocean is just beautiful and nice and flat. Lake Michigan is always 6-foot waves. It seems like you got to go out at 4 o'clock in the morning to catch a flat Lake Michigan.
Favorite childhood memory?
God, I would say like, growing up with our grandpa was like definitely probably like a favorite childhood, time for me, even working with him. My brothers used to go to like camp, like summer camp. And I was a little bit older than them. And I went to work with my grandpa at a screen printing company. And like, even like my job was like to fill the RC, pop machine, and then whatever money came out of that thing, I could keep. And just like, being 13 years old and like getting the key and like opening that thing up and having like a huge, bin of quarters. And, just being in that environment and, where they were located. And like, it was just like super vibrant at that time. It's on Roosevelt in Austin, which is like, just like a cool area to be in Cicero, Illinois. Like, and so like, I would say that was like my fondest memories, like just understanding, how to run a business at such a young age. And watching him, like I went to work with him, came home with him every single day. I got to see his whole day. And so that was probably like my favorite, memory as a kid.
It's pretty awesome. Is there anything that you're reading, watching, or listening to right now that you really like?
Yeah, I'm like kind of a podcast and Audible, junkie. I've been on some Berkshire books. The most recent one with Charlie Munger, Let Me Know Where I'm Going to Die and I'll Be Sure I Don't Go There, is a pretty interesting book that I'm reading right now. But otherwise, I'm pretty much into, any entrepreneurial, podcasts, especially if they're on the tech side, All In, My First Million, and everything in between.
Do you listen to them while you're working or like when you're working out and trying to zone out and get away from the shop?
Yeah, mostly, in the gym on the ride home. While I was in Florida, I had like an hour drive, back and forth each time. So I got a ton of audibles going on then.
A lot of stuff done. Yeah.
Is that Charlie Munger book about investing or is it about life?
Life. Yeah. Decision making, and I actually never really gave much value to decision making until recently. Especially with this project that we just completed. I always thought like decisions happened along the way. I never weighted decisions as much as I do today. So, like just like the thought process behind a decision, and like even the thought process behind not always making them, like being very comfortable with like sitting back and in reading, or like sitting back and observing in life, period. Like sometimes like, especially leading a company, like making decisions all day, like what coffee should we use? What marketing agency, what should I do? This client's mad. I'm in that book, like I'm getting more and more comfortable sitting back and making less decisions, always empowering my team, but like not necessarily if I make decisions all day, I'm not thinking. So, I weight decisions. Yeah. You're just reacting. Like now, I'm trying to just observe more. And then when I'm observe and observe and observe, like, and I feel like I've observed so much. When the iron is hot, I'll strike, rather than like constantly have decisions flown by and I'm like shooting at them. I'll lean back a little bit more.
Smart.
I like that. I think that sometimes we all get in the routine of we have our inbox and these emails are flagged and there's all these decisions in these emails and you want to go home with a clean inbox, like, hey, I'm done. And because you're going to come back the next day and there's going to be more. But I think there's some in there that, like you said, you're just going to have to, you just have to wait. It's tough sometimes, but better off waiting. Sometimes the decision decides itself.
Never
know.
Andy, last one.
What is for Din Din?
Good question. I actually don't run my life at all. My wife, Jacqueline, single-handedly runs my life. Kind of a joke at this point. I catch a lot of slack about it. But I honestly don't do anything outside of like my business. My wife completely runs our family, what we're doing, like even my friend set, like I have like such a strong core, great group of, awesome people that I've been friends with 20 years. And most of them are super successful too. And so it's a great group. No one texts me. They text me only about business stuff. Getting together in any way, shape, or form, everything runs through Jacqueline. So I have absolutely no idea what we're eating or where we're going. I just look at my iCalendar and she tells me exactly where to go. So much to the tune that I've gone to the airport and went there to go on a flight and I had no trip. So they accidentally put in my iCalendar that I had to go somewhere.
And you just showed up.
I will go anywhere. If she puts something into my calendar, I will literally go there. Like I'm a robot. She runs everything. She's incredible.
You could maybe Dylan would share some of his curry banana cake that he's making.
That's made up.
It sounds. I'm sure you would love it.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. We'll try it out. Well, thanks, Rich. We really appreciate you doing this with us. You've been on the list for a long time, so it's good to dive into that. And I'm glad you guys got Florida dialed in and figured out. I'm excited. I hope I can stop in sometime and check it out next time I'm down there.
Yeah, I'd love to have you guys, and congrats to you guys on everything that you've done here with this, platform. I think it's awesome. Every time I go to an industry event, somebody compliments, what you guys are doing. So,
Thanks,
please
man.
keep it up. It isn't easy, to create content, so I just want to let you guys know, like, congrats for that. What you're doing is really, really awesome. So thank you for having me.
Thanks, man. I feel like there could be a part 2. I have so many questions and there's, I don't know, unanswered.
Yeah.
So maybe we do a part
anytime.
2 coming up.
Well, after our revolution
Anytime.
of no more contract printing.
Oh man, I'm gonna get in trouble for this one, right?
Cheers to that. Thanks, man. See you.
Thanks, dude. We'll see you later.
All right.